Hit you with another one of them old phenomenal shits.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Undrlvld. My name is Chris. As you can see, I'm alone this time, which can only mean that I'm doing more Dungeons & Dragons coverage. I want to thank everyone for all the support that we've been getting on the channel with all of our videos. This will be our fourth video. A little late to the punch, but better late than never. Don't forget to click, like, subscribe, all that stuff that everyone tells you to do. And a link to our website is down below in the description. I'm getting away all this lesser stuff now because, Dungeons and Dragons, that's what I want to talk about. This video is specifically about the final panel, the Futures of Dungeons and Dragons. And in this panel, they talked about like the next evolution of D&D, the expansion gift set that's coming out, and what we can expect next year and beyond. To kick things off with probably the biggest announcement, I know a lot of people, myself, a bunch of people on Reddit, everyone was assuming that all the surveys that they were giving out about the player's handbook and about different aspects of the book was leading towards like a 6th edition or just another iteration of D&D. Well, that's what they announced. 2024 is going to be the 50th anniversary of D&D, and that's when the next evolution, as they said, of D&D is going to come out. They said next year we can expect more like surveys, and they're going to give us information on how we can help develop the direction of the game, which I'm assuming maybe it's like a Unearthed Arcana version of some of the stuff in the next book, or they'll figure out a way for us to test out things they're going to put out before actually putting it out. They did also say that it was going to be backwards compatible with 5th edition. So you see, if it was going to be something more akin to like Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, I don't think they would say something like that. Because after this announcement, I did see people being like, oh, maybe it's just a bunch of like extra optional stuff that you can use like in Tasha's. I don't think that's the case. I would say it would probably be more of like a 5.5 kind of thing. I don't think they would just drop 5th edition, hence why they're making it backwards compatible. It's disregarding the issues that people have with it. It's like it is the most popular edition of the game. So I don't think that they're just going to get rid of it outright. And another reason why I think that's the case is because the host of the panel essentially ended the show saying, listing off things that she liked about all the panels, but she said we might just have a new edition of D&D on the way to celebrate the 50th anniversary. I mean, unless that was like a huge misstep on her part, like could be a hint. It's possible. It was big. It was big. I mean, they did mention along with that we can also see some new things in the digital arena. I believe I saw a Nerd Immersion video. He's my favorite like D&D YouTuber, so you're gonna see me, mentioning him a lot. And I'll probably leave a link to him and someone else I'm gonna reference later in the description below. Just give him credit. But I know there were some surveys, and some of the questions were regarding like virtual tabletops. So maybe they're gonna be jumping in to compete against like Astral Tabletop and Roll20 and stuff like that, which I think would be pretty cool because they need competition. Roll20 is very flawed, but it's like, where else are you gonna go, So that's about all we got in terms of news on the next evolution of D&D. I'll have some more comments to say about it a little later, but that's all they really gave us. The next announcement is something I didn't really like that much. They announced that coming January 25th is going to be the D&D Rules Expansion gift set. So it's pretty obvious that it was probably supposed to come out like before Christmas, but with the pandemic and everything, what are you gonna do? The set's gonna include Xanathar's Guide to Everything, which I already have, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which I actually don't have, so I'm fine with that, and it's gonna come with a new book, Mordecaine's Presents Monsters of the Multiverse, because as we've seen, especially with Fizban's Treasury of Dragons coming out next month, they're making a huge push on the whole multiverse thing alongside DC and Marvel. And it might be a coincidence, but multiverse is like the big thing right now. It's gonna have, they said, over 250 monsters and 30 playable races. They touted that they all come with improvements based off the feedback they've gotten over the last 7 years. So not really expecting there to be that many issues when it comes out, and hopefully they've beefed up the monsters that we're gonna get in the book. They also mentioned, which I found interesting, is that all you really need is this gift set and the rules expansion gift set that was released a few years ago. That's all you really need for 5th edition. So, okay, they're starting to, trying to make it easier for people, so you're not spending like hundreds of dollars on books. Even though the gift set is $170, which I think is kind of weird. But they did say that all the monsters and races, they're all things that have already been released. So there's nothing technically new coming out in the book. It's all the monsters and races that have been released outside of the player's handbook and that are setting agnostic, as they said, meaning it's nothing. It's not. They're not going to put monsters or races that are setting specific. Kind of like like the Warforged with Eberron. Like they're not going to include anything like that. But if you want like a more detailed explanation of like which monsters are going to be in it and which aren't going to be in it, there's a Reddit post on D&D leaks. There's the Nerdversion video that I'll probably put in like a thing up here somewhere where they kind of break down like what you could expect to be in it and not. I'm expecting the Kobold and Hobgoblin that aren't going to be put into their books that we got in Unearthed Arcana earlier this year. Kind of expecting those to be in them. We already saw with the Owlin, with Strixhaven, that they're not afraid to put stuff in Unearthed Arcana that they don't necessarily plan on releasing with everything else. So, what I did find interesting though, because I did a little more research before this video. I know in the last D&D video, I kind of just jumped in and did a bunch of random stuff, but I actually took some notes. I tried to make an outline. First time trying to do that, so it'll still probably be horrible. But I was watching another video from another D&D user that I like a lot, AJ Pickett, because I've only played 5th edition. I didn't play any of the other editions of D&D. And from what he was saying, that when previous editions were coming kind of to like an end, and they were going to move on to another edition, they would start to come out with rule compendiums, kind of compressing things together to make it, kind of like what they're doing with the gift set and whatnot. Again, I don't think that we're going to get a 6th edition. I think it's going to be like a D&D 5e or 5.5 or something like that. Like they're going to keep the number 5 in there somewhere solely because of how popular it is. So, you got to capitalize on that. So they mentioned with this new Multiverse Monsters book that's coming out that it's going to give you a feel on their new direction, which I'm assuming means that it's going to have things in it and it's going to be stylized in a way that's going to very much resemble what they're going to do with the next iteration of D&D coming out in 2024. From what I've seen and from what I've heard, a lot of the changes were actually present in Wild Beyond the Witchlight, the adventure that came out a few weeks ago. And I'm assuming we'll see those changes also in Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. So I think we're going to get little hints this year, but I think with that new book coming out in January, that's going to be the first like big leap towards the new iteration of the game. They did show us NPC stat block examples. It's like a side-by-side comparison. On one side, they had the Volo's Guide to Monsters version. On the other side, it was the Multiverse version. They showed us the Bard, Warlock of the Great Old One, and the War Priest. What I thought was pretty cool was for the Bard, and I believe for the War Priest, they had a table that DMs could roll on, and it presented certain elements to basically make the NPC even just slightly more unique than, if they had like another NPC of the same type. So, just providing more uniqueness, regardless on how small that uniqueness might actually be. Obviously, new art, and I think I read somewhere that like the art in the book, is like, at least from what we've seen, is like from the D&D Magic the Gathering set. I'm not a Magic the Gathering guy, so I mean I can't really comment on that, and I completely forgot to look it up, but that's what people are saying. They also said to make it easier to find what creature you're looking for, they alphabetized the monsters, and I'm assuming the races as well, by their names, rather than putting them in like a category, be it like dragon, and then alphabetizing them, and then demons, alphabetizing them. I think it's just straight up alphabetized. I don't think they would mix like, playable races with the monsters. That would just kind of get annoying. So they're probably separated races, monsters, alphabetized, which I think is pretty cool. I've seen other monster manuals, be it from like DM's Guild, where they have it like that, where it's the category of monster type and then alphabetized. I didn't really like that because I kind of found myself jumping around looking for, I don't know, I'm a simple guy. I like a simple layout. What they also showed though was they kind of like what I said. I believe I said in the last D&D video, where it seemed like they're trying to make it easier for new players, and in this case for new DMs. For the I think it was for the Warlock or the War Priest, but I think it was no, it was the War Priest. They mentioned like the spellcasting feature in the stat block. Normally it would be, your spell slots and listing like what spells they can use and whatnot. But what they're gonna do moving forward is they're simplifying it to help decrease the prep time the DM needs to make. So they're dropping spell slots, and they're just slimming it on down, making it for an easier read. They're having a little more focus on like utility spells. And they're really trying to be it like with their attacks, or having like, instead of like a bunch of like attack spells that they can do, which I mean, if you look up the type of NPC that it is, because I think instead of like the creature type or something, they have it where like it's more like a class type. But rather than doing like, they're really emphasizing having the NPC hitting their CR level. And what I mean by CR level is their challenge rating. At least I think that's what it means. I'm not a DM yet, so some of these things I might be getting wrong. Be it their abilities, damage, type of damage, health, damage per round, or whatever. Like, they just want it to be where if you look at a creature and it says it has a high CR, it's gonna feel like it's supposed to have a high CR. Which, as a player, I like a lot, because there's been plenty of times where I've fought creatures before, and I'm like, man, this encounter seems like really, really, really easy. And when I talked to the DM after, because I'm trying to get tips for when I eventually DM, he was like, yeah, I really thought the encounter was going to be harder based on the CR level. of the creature, but you guys just completely bombed straight through it. So I think that's the focus. I think that's why um they're making the options a little bit easier. Like instead of having to come up with like a huge spell list for your spell casting NPCs, they're gonna have like like an action that you can take that does really good damage. It's pretty generic or whatever, and they're gonna kind of beef up its normal attack. I mean, you can put in the extra legwork if you want to come up with like a spell list for it, but you don't really have to. And getting rid of the spell slots means you can kind of at your own discretion, in case you want to edge it one way or another in favor of the party, or to make it a little more challenging, maybe given an extra little spell slot here and there. So that'll be interesting. That's about all they mentioned on that stuff. What they got into next was what to expect next year and beyond. And this was a little more iffy in my opinion. Obviously we're gonna get more adventures, be it like Wild Beyond the Witchlight and adventure anthologies, kind of like Candlekeep Mysteries, and we're gonna get more classic settings. I know some people are hoping for like, be it like Spelljammers or Dragonlance or something like that. People are expecting some things here and there, but we'll see. They did say that they're working on 2 brand new settings that have never been presented to us D&D players before, but I believe they said this would be the first time they've done something like this since Eberron in 2004. So it'd be pretty interesting to see, but it's in development. Basically, they're saying it could be released, it might not be released. I think they're going to develop it, and if they think they can make some money off of it, they're going to do it. If not, then they'll probably take elements from that and put into other things or something like that. But they did kind of contradict what they had said with that when they mentioned that next month in October, we're going to be getting information on a brand new setting being released in 2022, something we've never seen before. I'm not really sure if they meant that we haven't seen in 5th edition or just in general. They didn't really clarify, which I thought was kind of weird considering what they had just been talking about. But they said it was going to be scary and terrify players. So I'm hoping they're right, because I don't remember if I mentioned it in the last video, but I kind of felt like lately they've kind of been sugarcoating stuff, be it the critical role effect or, just kind of what I've seen in Wild Beyond the Witchlight with the whole pacifist route and stuff like that. I kind of feel like they might be getting a little soft on us. But I'm hoping that when they say scary and terrifying, that they actually mean it. So we'll see. I know they had like someone made like no, I'm not gonna get into that. Save it for another video. So we shall see. They did finish it off by saying that there's a secret project that they have coming out in 2022, and they showed an alt cover of the release that had Boo, the little hamster dude from the Baldur's Gate games. I know everyone's gonna give me crap for this. I know I'm into D&D and stuff, but I've never actually played Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. I do plan on doing that eventually. I think they're multiplayer. I might drag Paul or Dom into that as well. But regardless, Boo. I mean, I'm sure everyone else knows who he is. I saw some people kind of speculating on what it could be. Be it like a comic book or graphic novel, filling in gaps or something like that. I saw someone mention Spelljammers. I think people just really, really, really want Spelljammers back. But I don't really know if that would fall into like scary or terrifying. But then again, it would have to do with like mind flayers and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess spelljammers would be kind of terrifying. I haven't really looked into it that much, but yeah, I can see that. Me personally, I think I believe Larian is trying to. I think they're trying to get Baldur's Gate 3 like done and out in 2022, maybe 2023. So perhaps this is just something to kind of tie into that, like a prequel comic or like an adventure or something like that. So I mean that could be interesting. I mean, oh god, man, Baldur's Gate 3. I could make a whole nother video on that. I'm really excited for that game. But yeah, that's pretty much all they covered. Um, kind of my initial thoughts. I'm really excited for the next iteration of D&D. I know that there is a Kickstarter. Let me pull it up really quick. Valda's Spire of Secrets, I believe by Mage Hand Press. It's gonna be like a giant book with like all these different classes and subclasses and stuff like that. All these feats, and you're gonna have all. I might actually make a video on that later. So when I saw that, I got really excited because I just want more options. Like I have like character ADD in D&D, so like, and I just like making characters for fun. So the more options we have, the better. I like that it's backwards compatible with 5th edition. Just give me it. Give me it. Like I'm playing a Drake Warden, I think it is, Ranger, and Ranger's kind of boring. Like my DM, we kind of had to like meld different versions of the Ranger together just to kind of make it seem more interesting. I don't know. There's something about it. I don't know. Doesn't rub me the right way. So I'm hoping that they go in and they fix a lot of things. I know a lot of people have issues with like the sorcerer. I know for me, like the Great Old One Warlock, to me at least, seems a little underwhelming. I actually think Mage Hand Press released an updated, like their own version of the Great Old One. It's a lot better. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what that's all about. I'm not too thrilled with their whole virtual tabletop thing. I kind of feel like that might just be a way for them to, like, hey, you buy the physical book and buy the digital book on D&D Beyond, and you got to make sure you buy the virtual tabletop version too, so you can use it with our virtual tabletop. I'm just kind of nervous that, you know, it's gonna go about that way. Because I mean, if they do that, I'll just stick with Roll20. Um, the gift set, I don't like that they have the book just in the gift set. Like they're releasing the book as part of the gift set in January. Then they said basically later next year they're gonna release the Monsters of the Multiverse separately. I don't like that. I don't like that. I mean, it's good for me because I don't have Tasha's and obviously I don't have the new Multiverse book. So 2 out of the 3 books I don't have. So I mean, I don't mind getting it. But I mean, there are people out there that have Tasha's and Xanathar's Guide to Everything. I don't know. I think it's kind of messed up. But I get it. I mean, that was probably supposed to come out like January, December, and then they're probably going to release the book in like January, February, or something like that. So I get it, but still kind of crappy. I want to see those playable races. That's what I want. I want to see what they do with them. Like that's going to be really, really exciting. But other than that, more D&D goodness. But that about covers the panel. They had another panel. It was like a sage advice thing where people can ask questions and like clarifications on rules and stuff like that. I might do a short video on that. Just if I haven't read through what they discussed, but if it's anything interesting, I might jump in there and do something with that, but I'm not entirely sure yet. But other than that, I might do a video on the Valda's Spire of Secrets. But other than that, until next month when Fizzban's Treasury of Dragons comes out, and whatever info they have on their scary, spooky setting they're releasing next year, Probably won't be doing much D&D after this. Might do some game stuff. I know the DC fandom thing is also going on next month, so I'll be covering that as well, hopefully with the boys. But yeah, thank you again for everyone for the support. Please share this video. Let's try to keep the momentum going, and I'll have more updates on future content in the actually this Friday, because I completely forgot. I'll be streaming Dead by Daylight with Paul and with Dom. So we'll all discuss a bit more than what we're going to be doing content wise moving forward. So it's not just going to be D&D. I want to talk about, like board games, card games, like we want to talk about a bunch of different things. So a lot to look forward to, and I hope you all stick around for the ride. Good day.